A very good morning to you, crafty lot. So we're gonna do, as we're doing a Facebook Live every single day. Today is Saturday, I guess day X now. I stopped counting the days where we are home or where we are at work. I'm just trying to bring up the Facebook Live same time on my iPad so I can see you lovely comments on. That's it. So we're still working as usual, totally beads. So it's been a bit of a challenge sort of working from home, and then I was in office 3 days this week. Next week I'm going to be in office 2 days, and the following week 3 days again. So we split down into 2 teams, and we're trying to really sort of minimize the contact with each other and staying all safe. So we're doing a Facebook Live every single day to help you at home, giving something to you, something sort of back to you, because you've been supporting us for so many years, and we just really wanted to give you something throughout this difficult period. And so let's get crafting together. So not long we're doing a Facebook Live video. We're giving you a free PDF, which I will post a link below for you, where you can download it from our website. You have to put in your basket, and then once it's in your basket, you need to check out, and the download will be sent to you. Then you can print it out yourself and work it from home. This is absolutely free. You don't need to purchase anything at all. Just download the PDF and start working from it. So today we're going to be making this lovely brooch. Well, it's bead embroidery. I just wanted to show bead embroidery to you. It's one of my pet projects. I'm going to flip the camera around and put in my lighting rig so you can see what I'm doing much better. So please do say hello, comment on what you're doing or how you are, what's happening with you at home, if you keeping busy. Although we only allowed to go for one walk a day. How are we all doing, really? So, bead embroidery is, I love bead embroidery because there are no rules, really, to bead embroidery. You can do so many different things. You can layer it up as you go along. You can use all sorts of different beads. Because I like things more symmetrical, I like to do things where sort of I'm building up and going in rounds, but there is many different things you can do with it. So the materials you would need, you need a stiff back fabric. Now this, you can buy some from Totally Beads if you haven't got any at home. They are really, it's quite thick. I think probably about 2mm thick. Usually it comes in white or black. I like to use the white one, and I'll explain it to you in a minute why. It's really stiff, but it's not stiff enough, so you can still take your needle through it quite easily and embroider around whatever you want to embroider around. It's quite good. You don't need much of it, so a little piece will go a long way, I guess. You're also gonna need a cabochon. I got these hematite cabochons, and these ones got flat backs to them, and you need to glue them down. Now the glue I use, you can use E6000, but then you have to leave it overnight to set, or you can use a super glue, which will take your stone to the fabric and just really secure it on there. I usually leave it overnight so they're nice and dry, and then they don't move, they secure down there. But once we start beading around the beads, we're gonna come up a little bit, and the bead's gonna hold it down as well. So you really and truly, you're only holding it down temporary at this time. I've got quite a few colors. They comes in many different shapes, many different types. You get some with this is hematite, and they call it the hematite, but there are some really nice ones out there, like all sorts of different gemstones, or even glass as well, if you want to have a little practice. So that's what you need first. You need your beads, different type of beads, what you're going to use to bead around, and then you're going to need a backing fabric, which is this is what we sell at Totally Beads. This is Alcantara, which is like an Italian faux suede fabric, really. It's got a really great feel to it. It feels like real, but it isn't. Again, this is quite a nice, quite a handy thing to have, but of course if you want, you could use real leather as well, or any other fabric, really. this is going to be on the back of your pendants, and this is quite important because it's going to be against your skin. So when you stitch your pendants on the back of your base fabric, you're going to see all the stitches, and that's what we're doing with these backing fabrics. When we stitch it around, we cover that all up, and just gives you a nice feeling against your skin. So let me just, hi Joe, Joe is here, hi Debs, hi Judith, hi Julie. These comments keep disappearing. Hi Alison. Oh, more Alison saying she's having to watch without a sound, bless her. Never mind. Right, so that's your basic materials you need. You need a cabochon, you need a base fabric, you need a backing fabric, you need some beads, and you need some thread, what you're going to be using to stitch your beads. Now I like to use Supalon, but some other brands are available out there, so it's go with what you feel is comfortable. So I mentioned I like to use white base fabric, and the reason why, because we want to, it's only available in white and black, and we want to make all sorts of different color of pendants, and we want to bead around all sorts of different things what we want to do. So what I did here is just taken an alcoholic pen. Now this is like, you know, you got your Sharpies or what's the other brand called? Can anybody remind me? Permanent marker. And I got quite a few in a cupboard, never mind, either come to me. So alcoholic pen, permanent marker, you can mark your base fabric to the color of beads you're going to be using, and that will be great, because once if you're using darker beads, if you different sort of color beads, this not going to be showing underneath it. So this all being colored, and probably you can see the base fabric just a little bit there, but because it's been colored the same color as the beads, you're not going to be seeing the white coming through. So that's quite a handy tip. Then you're gonna attach a thread. So I just sort of stitch up and down a couple of times. I did a one thread knot and I came back to the front. It doesn't matter where you start, because you're gonna be going all the way around. I'm just gonna take some of these lovely purple beads. So we're going to do a long stitch with these, which means you could do it bead by bead, but I like to do a bunch of them at a time, so I probably usually work in 2s and 3s. So I'm going to start picking up 4, and I'm going to let this go all the way down. Now, as you see, I am a little bit away from my cabochon. I'm not coming up right next to it, so probably about 1 millimeter I'm coming up next to the cabochon, which is probably half the size of the bead, and I'm going to let this fall all the way down, and then I want to go back down to the other side. I'm going to pull these beads up so they're nice and sort of tucked next to each other, and I'm going to go back down just after the 4th bead and pull it through. That's it. So now what I want to do is to step back, so I'm going to come back through between bead number 2 and number 3. So I'm just sort of stitched back a little bit. And pull this up tight. Then I'm gonna go through, sorry, I just got my thread tangled up a little bit here with all the samples, and I'm gonna go through the last 2 seed beads which were added. Just like that. And then I'm going to pick up another 2 seed beads, let them go all the way down. Now you can work in 2s, you can work in 4s, you can work in as many as you like. I could pick, oh, let's pick up another 2, so we are a bit quicker going around. So I picked up another 2. Again, I'm going to pull them up so they sit nice and tight next to each other. I don't want to pull them up too much because I don't want them to pucker up. I'm just going down. Just like that. Oh, I got a knot in my thread. Let's pull that out. And then I'm going to step back 2 beads. Just find my position. Come up just right there and go through the last two again, pulling it nice and tight. Then I'm gonna go and pick up another 4, pull this all the way down, and go down again, step back 2 beads, pull this up and go through the last 2. So you're going to do this all the way around, and just pull these 2 here. You're going to do it all the way around, and you're going to end up with the beads nicely sort of quite snug next to the cabochon. Now what you need to do once you did this, you need to go around all of the beads in your circle just to sort of pull them together and make them sort of even more nice and even. So as you're coming out of your last bead, just carry on and go around all of the beads, just sort of sewing them, pulling them together. And if you had little gaps, this will, when you go around this again, just like that, I'm not sewing up and down, I'm just going around the beads. When you will I've had a little gap, you will pull this right together and you will have a nice and even finish. So just like that, keep going around. Annette saying hello, Chris saying morning Kitty, thanks for the daily good feeling time. Yes, I think it's really important for us to sort of, let's use this time, let's stay positive, let's use this time to learn so many different techniques. You can venture into different crafts and do loads of different bits of pieces, sort of sink your teeth into, or, you know, perfect your techniques. Really, I think it's a really great time for everybody, every crafter at home. Just to stay at home and craft all day long. I mean, I still have to work, I still have to go to work, so wouldn't it be nice just to stay at home and do nothing? But hey ho. So many lovely ladies, you've been asking on Facebook if you're still open. Yes, we are still open, we're still sending orders out. It may take you a couple of extra days to get to you, because obviously working with a smaller crew and backlogs, and the post office is quite busy as well, so but it will get to you with sending out orders as normal. Another question I got asked yesterday is that if you're allowed to share this video, and I'm just saying please do. So if you got any crafty friend or anybody, you know, please do send the video to them, because if they're, by the time they might find it on Facebook a couple of days later, the free PDF is going to be gone, because the free PDF is only available for 24 hours. So if you got any crafty friend who you think would benefit at home watching these videos, please do send it to them, share it with them, and we can all get together and sort of crafting. But we will be doing this every single day going forward. Sarah is helping out, Sarah Millsop, so she's doing some. Lindsay's saying good morning, Debbie's saying good morning, Dorothy's saying good morning, and all the lovely beaders. Susan's saying loving the tutorials, following them daily. Thank you. Bernie's saying good morning. So I've done the whole row here, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sew down right in between the beads I added and the cabochon, and I want to add an extra row of size 15 beads. So I'm gonna go smaller a little bit here, and I want those size 15 to see on top of the cabochon and those beads what I just added. So let me just get the 15s out. You're gonna do exactly the same here. So I'm gonna come up between the cabochon and the seed beads. I don't want to sew into any of the seed beads, I just want to be right between them, just like that. And I'm going to repeat what I just did. So I'm going to pick up 4 beads. Because you're working with smaller beads here, you can even go 6 and 3s. It's entirely up to you. And then sewing it down again, but making sure this row will sit right on the top of the size 11 you did and the cabochon itself. And I'm gonna take my thread back. You can sort of go backwards and forwards from the front to see where you need to be, maybe a little bit over, just like that, and pull this through, and going through the last through size 15s, and again I'm going to be picking up new ones. So do this all the way around again, and this is how easy it is really, because all you're doing, you're just stitching your beads down 1 by 1, 2 by 2, or 4 by 4, however you wish. You can even mix your beads up. You do all sorts of different things. You can have more than one cabochon glued down and sort of going around in your pattern. It's entirely up to you. You can't go wrong. I love this sort of projects when you really making it up as you go along, because it's such a nice, just really such a nice technique, especially for beginners. I mean, like if you're a beginner and you look at that and let's say I would not be able to do that, but yes you would, because it's really easy. You're just stitching sort of beads down 1 by 1, 2 by 2. Joe is saying my orders have been very quick in arriving, Kitty. Thanks, Joe, for letting us know. I hope you're all happy. We had quite a few phone calls at warehouse yesterday as well when I was in the asking, and yeah, everybody's trying to stock up a little bit to be ahead and have stuff to do at home. So once you finish that row, you're gonna venture out and you can do another row. This I did crystals and another seed beads. It doesn't have to be crystals, it can be round beads, glass pearls, any beads you really like to make the pattern up you want. And then I finished with the size 11 here. Once I'd gone around the size 11, I secured my thread at the back with a 1 thread knot again, so it's nice and secure and it's not going to come off. Then I trim that off, and what's the next step is to do is you need to cut around your cabochon. Now you need to be careful. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so you don't cut into your thread path, because if you cut into your thread path, this is going to fall apart, and obviously you don't want that. So make sure you leave maybe a millimeter gap right on the side. So first I like to cut it from the right side up, and I leave quite a bit going around. Then I would turn my cabochon around and just sort of trim the edges where I need to trim it. Just loads of little trims, just rather than a big one. Make sure you're safe with those ends there, safe with those threads, so they're nice and tucked. And once you've done that, I would apply a little bit of glue and glue my piece down onto my backing fabric so it holds it together nicely and neatly. Once that the glue is held in place, I would go again and cut my backing fabric around to the same side again. I'm going to do it from the front, cutting it right around. I mean, I haven't glued this down, but because I wanted to show you the thread paths, but you would glue this around, just going around, and then again I would turn it to the back and trim it so they're right exactly the same size. I would get my felt tip out again and just color the side here so it would match that sort of little bit of hint of purple would come around and just cover the edge, and then you just sew the two together. Pretty much very similar to long stitch what we did, but all the stitches are in the free PDF, so please go and download it. And once you stitch to the side, you can either go ahead and add an extra decoration, or you really do personalize it however you want to personalize your own cabochons. So that's it really to pardon me, for bead embroidery. It's not difficult at all. You're just working sort of a couple of beads at a time, going around your cabochons, glue them down. So just to remind you, you need a base fabric, which is like a little bit of stiffer material, and it has to be a stiffer material because if it's not stiff, if it's something really stiff, as you're stitching, it will pull it together, and then you're going to have creases in your beading which you don't want. So you need something a little bit stiffer material. You need your cabochon, of course, many different types available. You need your beads, you need a permanent marker to color around on your base. So you can, the base fabric, so you matching the beads, the color of the beads you're going to be using. So I use a turquoisey one here and the purpley one on there. Then you're going to need your backing fabric, which is either ultra suede or Alcantara. We sell Alcantara, which is Italian flow suede, but if you want to use, you could use real one as well. It's entirely up to you, or any other materials what you might have at home. And that's it really. Then I just did a little cross sort of on the back of the pendant. I experimented with sort of some different ones, but sometimes the simpler ones are the easiest and the better ones. So just a cross of beads so you can attach a nice necklace to it. I wanted this to be sort of behind, that's why I went down with the cross, but obviously you could raise it so you would have a nice and a bail for your pendant. So that is really there what you have in Bead Embroidery. Please do try it and post some pictures. We have some lovely Facebook groups where you can, you know, just share your ideas or ask for questions, ask like-minded people, and just give inspiration to each other, because I think this is the times when we really need to support each other the most we can. So join our Facebook groups, the Handmade by Totally Beads. Totally Handmade by Totally Beads is probably the biggest one. Then the more people there, do share these videos, so please do send it to your friends so they do know they only got 1 day to download the free PDF. And that's it really. Tomorrow I'll be back with sort of a basic stringing by using it on multi-strand with focal beads. So that will be a really great sort of easy technique for learners as well, because not we all fancy different things. We all like to do different patterns, and we all like different techniques. So check back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And also, can you please comment to me that would you prefer this video as at 10 a.m. in the morning? We were talking with Sarah yesterday that perhaps in the evening there are more of you on Facebook and can see and view our videos and help you out, and that sort of gives you a day to get organized and if you with your materials and get them out and start crafting. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Start crafting. Please do share your makes if you do any sort of beading embroidery, not just sort of this style of pendant, but if you've done any pictures, if you've done anything, please do share it us at even or our Facebook page or into the group, because we all love to see what you've been up to. So please stay safe. Oh, Carol is asking, like, how do you put the cross on the back, please? Claudia asking if I can see the video later because I saw it now. It was too late. So if you go on our Facebook page, which is Totally Beads, you can always scroll down in the news feed and all the videos. And yesterday's video is going to be on there, and the day before's video is going to be on there. They're all going to be on there, so you can go back and watch any of the videos again and again. And the cross on the back, I'll show you properly the simpler one. So after, let me just take this out. After I did sort of a picot edge here with size 15, I went down again. I just came out maybe about 1 centimeter from my middle and picked up a number of beads. Then I've taken it down to right to the bottom. Now it's depending on where you're gonna go. So when you pick up your beads, just lay it on the top, on the back of your pendant, and then I taken my way around, picked up a number of beads. I crossed over in one from the first row and went to the up. But there is no really right or wrong number of beads here, because depending on how big you want to do your cross, you need to pick up more or less beads. So start at the top, pick up a number of beads, lay it on the back. Don't forget, doesn't have to be flat on the back. You want it to maybe measure it flat on the back, another couple of beads, because you want it to be away from the back so you can insert your necklace into here, and then just sort of go through, cross it over, go to a bead. You can either measure it. Another good thing you can do, so if you got a couple of needles, extra needles at home, you can put your needle stick into the backing fabric, just like that. So you know where, and then you can do it from top to bottom as well, or you can aid it that way. So you just got sort of a visual, guys, sorry, this needle is not, I haven't got a straight needle in the house, would you believe that? Put it out from top to bottom, and when you pick up your beads, you lay it on the top of it, you know where to cross over and you know where you have to go. So that's quite an easy little tip for you. But that's it, it's really easy to do. But it's all in the PDF instructions as well, so please download the PDF instructions, print it out, and you can work with it. Oh, Judy's saying she tried this one before, but yours one is lovely. Thank you very much. I really do love doing this because, as you said, there is no set things. You don't have to really count beads. You just make it up as you go along, and you can do so many different lovely things. You only need a few beads, so it doesn't take huge amount of beads. So even if you've got like half a string of leftover crystals, you can use it, but you can alternate it as well. You can do it from bead soup and loads of different things. Joe's saying, thanks for this tutorial. Have a lovely day. You too, lovelies. And I will see you tomorrow for another one. And next week on Monday, we're going to do Kumihimo. So I got a little volunteer who would like to be on a video. So I'm going to have to change the setup. He's only 9. But he really wants to do it, so let's see how we go. I might have to give him a little quick lesson before we show it to you off together. So I think he's just going to do a braiding one, and I'm going to be doing a beaded kumihimo, so you can have a few different ideas as well there. So have a lovely day. It looks like it's nice and sunny outside, and I'm going to go for a walk later on, and got loads of more beading to get on with it indoors. So I will see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.